Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church in Peoria. My name is Reverend Jennifer Innes, and it is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of people of all ages at all stages of life. It is so good to be together as we join in the spirit of curiosity and love and justice. Whomever you are, whoever you love, whatever your life's journey, your presence is a blessing. Whether you're with us every Sunday, or once or twice a month, once or twice a year. I hear Easter is going to be pretty good next Sunday, so come on to that one in particular. Or whether you are here for the first time this morning, we are so glad you are with us. Today I'm grateful to be offering the theme for this Sunday on our monthly theme, which is Awakening. And we'll be talking about it in awakening to kind of the larger senses of life and to joy in all its complexities, and how we get to model that for our children. So in the spirit of our mission to build a beloved community that centers justice, equity, and compassion, let us take a moment to acknowledge our gathering on native land. This is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They welcomed the first European settlers as they came down the river, and we honor the Peoria people as ancestors and for who they are today. I also want to take a moment to welcome in particular the newcomers among us. It is no small thing to venture out these days and to find a new place to be and to meet people. And I'm so glad you're with us. Please help us get to know you. Stay after the service for coffee, for visiting. If you're a newcomer who's coming to us online, I want to invite you to introduce yourself in our chat. Send a note to our office to introduce yourself, especially if you're watching this on the archive. I also want to offer a note about how we gather together, in living our relationships with each other and our care and compassion. So I invite you to turn your respective devices to worship mode, to maybe make it a little easier to be present to this hour. Give yourself the gift of this time. We also are making an effort at social distancing. We are masking in the sanctuary while singing and while the children are in worship, as well as in the religious education wing. You can see the insert in the order of service for more information. And now we have a special announcement. I want to invite Linda Fairbanks up to talk about the annual campaign.
Much louder now. I began my role as president of the Board of Trustees for this congregation in the midst of the pandemic. And my first annual campaign was in 2021, our annual pledge drive. At that time, a year ago, my thoughts were very much with the way this church has sustained me and my family and our community for 20 years. We've been members. More than ever, the pandemic made me think about what made us strong and what helped us through. Steve and I, Steve is my husband, we looked back and that was comfortable and that was security. This year, as I think about the annual campaign, my thoughts are very much with the future of this church. I look around and I see so much change happening. We're in the midst of such an evolution. We've done things that we never could have imagined with virtual worship and small group gatherings, virtual and in person. There is a new minister. Yes, we still call her new. And almost all of the staff is undergoing a change. When we start the new church year this fall, we'll have a new director of lifespan religious education. Almost the entire staff will be new. So where does this evolution take us in the future? Where do we want it to take us? I'm confident this group wants to continue our journey for racial justice, I'm confident we want to continue our support for the Pleasant Valley School, continue our work for environmental justice, and continue seeking our own personal growth with a robust religious education program that serves members of all ages, with a special focus on young families. These efforts require staff, they require volunteers, and they require funding. Our goal of $341,000 in our pledge drive is achievable, but only if we all participate. Please commit what you can, whether it's $10 a month or $50 a month or whatever you can give. Every gift is appreciated. If you have the capacity, consider a gift of appreciated stock or mutual funds. It has been a banner year in some cases for investments, and maybe that's a way that you feel comfortable contributing. Your pledge matters. Please turn your pledge in by the end of April and see me or Rev. Jennifer or Amanda Franklin, our campaign chair, if you have any questions about the campaign. Thank you.
I also want to offer a special note of thanks to Amanda. If you haven't seen our graphic and the poster in the foyer, I highly recommend it. All the little blobbies are so cool to just gaze upon, like, I just want to be here and look at the pretty things. This is good. We can kind of all look at these things together. And I know generosity is very much embedded in the spirit of this congregation. I want to offer a note of thanks for every gift, every kind of gift that comes from the members, the friends, all of us who gather, whether we are in person, whether we are online, in all the ways that we connect. It is such a good thing to be part of this beloved community. And now I want to invite you to rise in body or spirit. We are going to be working out our singing voices this morning. One that I don't know that I've actually led in person in, I think, maybe 2.5 years, which is Morning Has Broken, number 38 in our gray hymnal. You are welcome to go look in the hymnal for this. The lyrics will also be on the slide in the service. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing Morning Has Broken. Morning has broken.
Our opening words this morning are entitled Once More by Amy Bowden Friedman. Once more, the earth has turned toward the light of the sun. As we are bathed in the light of a new day, so may we greet the dawning of fresh possibility. Once more, we awaken from our slumber. As our bodies rise to meet the challenges and pleasures of living, so may our hearts and minds open with promise. Once more, we gather for worship. As we join our voices in word and song, so may this assembly bring forth wholeness. Come, let us worship.
Good morning. Our light is the light of the sun, keeper of all we love. Our light is the light of the earth, provider of sustenance. Our light is the light of all living things, life precious like our own. Our light is the light of each of us bound together in need and hope. Our light is the light of the cosmos, keeper of all we know.
I want to invite you to rise, or body or spirit, for our hymn number 389 in the gray hymnal, Gathered Here. We will hear it once, and then we will sing it through twice.
Good morning. I hope you're all both awake and ready for awakening this day. My story for you tells of one family whose eyes were opened in an unexpected way. It's called The Magic Face. There was once a poor family who lived in a drab little house in the neglected part of the city. They tried to be a happy family, but times were hard and jobs weren't easy to find. As time went on, they began to feel more and more sad and depressed. You could even see their sadness showing itself on the house that they lived in. They no longer bothered to clean the windows. They didn't take care of the little patch of garden in the front of the house. The paint peeled off the door and cracks appeared in the bricks. One day, the oldest son in the family was roaming through the town and he came upon a farmer's market. The stall holders had set up their goods and there was a bustle of activity. In spite of his feelings of sadness and despair, the boy found himself caught up in the excitement of the morning market. One stall particularly attracted him. It was a little second-hand antique stall tucked away at the back of the market. He stopped to investigate, and there, hidden away in the dark recesses, he noticed a beautiful vase. Quickly, he fingered the money in his pocket. He had just enough to meet the modest cost of the vase, but there would be nothing left over. He decided to buy the vase anyway, even though he knew it would mean going without a few of the things the family needed. He just knew his mom and everyone else in the family would love it. he slowly handed over the contents of his pocket to the man behind the counter. As he wrapped the vase in brown paper, the stall holder said to the boy, "Enjoy it, won't you? And treat it well, because it is a magic vase." With these mysterious words ringing in his ears, the lad went off home, proudly carrying his purchase. Everyone at home was delighted with the vase, and oddly, no one was angry at him at all for spending his last bit of money on it. Quite the opposite, in fact. When the dad saw the vase, he realized how shabby the room was, and he went down to the basement, got out some paintbrushes, and gave the room a makeover. When the second son saw how nice the room looked with its fresh paint of coat, he fetched a bucket of water and washed the windows for the first time in years. When the third son looked out of the bright, new, clean windows, he realized what a horrible state the garden was in and went outside to till it up. When the fourth son saw the freshly tilled garden, he planted seeds in the flower bed and watered them lovingly all through the spring. When summer came and the baby daughter of the family went out to play in the garden, she noticed the flowers that had grown from the seeds, and she gathered a bunch of them to give to her mother. "Here are some pretty flowers, Mommy," she said, "because we love you." Her mother was overjoyed, and with tears rising in her eyes and a lump in her throat, she put the flowers in the magic vase. May we not surrender to the challenges of our own day-to-day lives, and always find new ways to awaken ourselves to just how to make our lives more beautiful, connected, and loving. So be it.
I want to invite us to sing our children and youth and their adults out to their Sunday morning programs. Let us join in singing "Go Now in Peace." So once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, most folks used the offering plate to fulfill their pledges of financial support. And nowadays, many folks click on their pledge on their church websites, which we could do, or set up automatic transfers from checking accounts, which is wonderful. Some still write the monthly check, and certainly that comes into the mail on a regular basis, paying the church bill, along with all the others. I mean, one could make a donation, like now, or at any point before, during, after the service, by texting on the phone or through the link that is shared now. But passing the offering plate was never just a practical exercise. It has always been ritual. I mean, I love the shape of the offering plates. They themselves are things of beauty, something that has been cared for and thought through and made for a purpose, for the ease of giving. So even if you are completely paid in your pledges, thank you. It is something to do that act of giving, even a little something, as a ritual reminder of the form of love that we know as generosity. So let it be a reminder that after meeting our obligations to ourselves and our households and the communities to which we belong and we are committed, that we still have a capacity to give. The practice of giving, created to be nurtured to be second nature and first response, is one of those tangible, specific ways that we bring forth and make manifest the realm of love. That we bring forth compassion and charity and generosity into the world. That we model abundance. So we'll be passing the plate. And after the ushers pass the plate, while Rosa offers our music for meditation, we will then have a time for candles. This is the time to let what is in your mind and on your heart be visible and known with that specific act of lighting a candle in this sanctuary, in this moment that we are sharing together. If you are joining us online, please let these candles be lit on your behalf, but you're also welcome to light one wherever you are. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. And then we will get to light candles together. So let the plates come forward. We gather in the spirit of life in the presence of all that is. We offer this moment as a gift of our lives, as a sharing, as a communion. For all that is with us and within us in all the aspects of our lives. We begin with the sharing of joys and sorrows of the congregation. And the first I want to offer is from Sherry Campbell. And she says, I wish to express joy and gratitude for my husband, Gary, saving my life on February 6th. His love and care has helped me through many health challenges these past few months. I look forward to celebrating my 70th birthday with him on April 24th in good health. We offer healing wishes to Mary Mulholland Kefar as she recovers from injuries, as she is expecting to have surgery coming up soon. We also offer healing wishes to TJ Stone, who is facing some health challenges of their own. We send good wishes to Helen Martin and Susan Bope, who both have moved and are making new homes in new places to live. In our Unitarian Universalist world, this is one of the seasons of ordinations, welcoming new ministers into being ordained as reverend, installations, welcoming new ministers into current relationship with congregation, new ministries about to begin, announced departures from previous ministries. And so for this moment, I want to offer our wishes to everyone amidst the endings and the beginnings and the wonderings of what the next journey will hold. I want to turn to our larger world and extend care and compassion to so many of the people of Oklahoma and Alabama this week. In Oklahoma, we saw the passage of laws to limit abortion access and criminalize medical care. In Alabama, we have a law that has now criminalized health care for trans youth to seek the kind of care they need to be consistent with their gender identity. And if it passes and isn't shot down, it will also limit trans youth to having access to the bathrooms that other people think they should go to. And I really, truly want to offer care and compassion to so many of the folks in Alabama and Oklahoma right now, because these are hard. These are hard. We want to celebrate. At the same time we're having this nonsense, we want to celebrate something wonderful. And the appointment of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, like the real, fully Supreme Court. Finally, the first Black woman to serve on our highest court. In this moment, I'm also aware of how many holy days and holidays and seasons are among us. I want to name just a few. That our Jewish siblings and those among us who practice are preparing for Passover and the liberation from bondage. That our Christian siblings and those who practice among us are recognizing Palm Sunday today, and the humble entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, the opening of hearts and hospitality for the sake of mercy, love, and justice that was so longed for and so needed. And our Muslim siblings and those who practice among us fasting and praying during the month of Ramadan. May they have an easy fast. I'm getting snowed on. I'm sorry. I have no idea why. All right. Let us offer one more moment in reflection, in quiet, for all that is in our hearts, all that remains unspoken, all that is with us. Let us take one more moment in the quiet together. Amen. I want to invite Helen Martin up to share the reading with me.
What to Remember When Waking by the poet David Whyte. In that first hardly noticed moment in which you awake, coming back to this life from the other, more secret, movable, and frighteningly honest world where everything began, there is a small opening into the new day, which closes the moment you begin your plans.
What you can plan is too small for you to live. What you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for the vitality hidden in your sleep.
To be human is to become visible while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world is to live in your true inheritance.
You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited from another and greater night than the one from which you have just emerged.
Now, looking through the slanting light of the morning window toward the mountain presence of everything that can be, what urgency calls you to your one love? What shape waits in the seed of you to grow and spread its branches against a future sky?
Is it waiting in the fertile sea, in the trees beyond the house, in the life you can imagine for yourself, in the open and lovely white page on the writing desk? Here ends the reading. Now please rise in body or spirit and join me in hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. We will sing it, we will hear it once, and then we'll sing it twice through. some months ago when I knew the theme was going to be that of awakening for this month. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. April, awakening, spring. And then there's the moment when you actually come to the question of the theme and like, why? Why wake? It is highly overrated. This waking thing is. But really the question that had me pondering was, all right, awakening, but from what? To what? Why? Truly, why? I'll confess to have been being a bit of, I don't know, a kind of a gasping emotional mess in some moments in the last weeks, because I am so moved. I am so moved by the world in this moment, so moved by the beauty of the earth as it's springing forth in our hemisphere, by the kindness that people are extending one to another that indeed makes the news and makes my day, about how much people are regarding life as so precious, which has come into such sharp focus yet again when it is so casually extinguished. This season, I find, this season has its own kind of cosmic wrangling between the mortal and the eternal and what emerges from that. But I really want to thank my colleague, Victoria Safford, for encapsulating all of this complexity when she talks about joy. She certainly is talking about joy and certainly means to say the joy that comes from simply playing, simply the enjoyment of the world, simply savoring a great Girl Scout cookie, if you will, simply doing those things, absolutely. But she says, she makes the distinction, she says that joy is not the same as happiness, exactly. It's not quite as giddy or goofy, although by all means be giddy and goofy. It's not dependent on getting your way or getting what you think you want. Joy, she says, is the love of life, the spark of life, and that awareness that you have sometimes that this is what it's for. This life, simply this life that is before us, the effort at integrity, the experience of gratitude, the awareness of beauty itself, and to notice the brevity of beauty, the brevity of all aspects of life, and to hold fast to what you love and care about, even unto death. To hold fast to what you love and care about, even unto death. I hope for you, and I know for myself, part of my spiritual practice is to notice these fragments and moments when there is that kind of connection to joy, when that is that awareness, that appreciation, if you will. The sun shining in, the blue sky before us, like yesterday's clear blue dream of a sky. Or perhaps there's even been entire days, don't be too ambitious, an entire day that's gone, pretty well. And you've been able to appreciate what is around you, the lives, the relationships, the interactions, that things have just gone well, and what is hoped for, and also not just what's hoped for, but what's important to you. For me, it's being aware of the heartbreaking beauty all around us, the wonder, the authenticity of the warm sun and the clear breath of wind. All of this tapping into that, why be awake? You know, joy was one of our earlier themes as well this year. In December, we talked about opening to joy, which of course works really well for all of the celebrations and the appreciations of newness and transformation that comes with December. One of our key words in the congregation for this year is, in fact, joy, is that we would be a place of joy. And by all means, we should be a place of goofiness and giddiness. I mean, we should be, because, humans, and we like to do this well together. But the kind of joy, I think what the invitation from my colleague Keith Cron in calling us to be a congregation, a place of joy, the kind of joy about which he was talking was really what Victoria was talking about. This love of life, this spark of life, that awareness that this is what it's all about. That this is what life is for. And that's a reason to wake up all by itself. That this joy holds the transience of life and the transcendence of all that is and connects us to what we love. I want to think a little bit more about where and how to experience this kind of awareness to joy, awakening to joy. So I'm one of those people who just loves places of layers of history and depth and storytelling, of ruins and stone walls, or simply a sanctuary that has been built and enjoyed and sung into for ages and generations. I had a moment of listening and awareness about the complexity of this kind of joy. When I lived in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for my first ministry, 20 years ago, there were layers upon layers of life. I went from Massachusetts to Alabama for this first ministry, not quite knowing what to expect. And there were layers upon layers of life and death and college football and also oppression, right? You go to the rally on the green for the home game of the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and hear the band and cheer for the team while being across the street from the schoolhouse steps where an earlier governor tried to hold back the tide of desegregation. Across the street from each other. Where settlement there and lives were made possible by the enslavement of Africans. Right? This is that land. This is that good, fertile earth of the South. And to go even further back, that this area was the place for the community for the Creek and the Choctaw tribes before the United States government took their land and forced them into exile on the Trail of Tears. It is a place that is a mix of people and interests and all the layers of life and death and hardship and struggle. Because it's also a place with the best ever mint sweet tea. There's at the local Mediterranean fast food place that still exists. And it was the best place to go after church on Sunday because pretty much everybody could find something to eat there. It's got great barbecue too. It's got people with a love of education and raising up the next generation of leaders. And one of those people who grew up in the Unitarian Universalist Church there, that congregation, Ms. Amanda Schuber, she was in college when I first met her then, and she is being ordained into Unitarian Universalist ministry today. This afternoon, in fact. And she will keep fighting for the human rights in the place that she loves, because she loves Alabama. And she will also invite people there in the true spirit of hospitality. And she's just one of so many. There are so many layers and so much that is to be found that is wonderful amid the struggle. There is so much joy amid the heartbreak, amid the layers of history and the layers of the present. You know, those layers are here as well, in this time and place in Peoria, and all of us who are connected in this area. Things that are beautiful and not. Lives, people working and dying and preparing for the next lives to come. People's passions being brought into being. People inspiring one another. There is art and labor and engineering and medicine and a long history of tilling the earth. I was thinking back to how do we find this connection with this awareness and awakening and joy in all of its complexity and entering into, and I so appreciate David Whyte, the poet, for talking about this kind of honest and darkness. What do we wake into? We come out of this darker place of dream and into the world, and there's this fine moment when we've been enriched by that darkness and are about to be derailed by our to-do lists, where we are, in fact, awake. It is fleeting at best, he says, and vanishing once we start to make a plan. But it is this cosmic dream, this eternal brushing our mortality, our finite lives, here in that moment, when we rise, if we have no other moment, when we rise into the day, that we awaken to this savoring of life as expressed in joy. Joy amidst the sorrow, this re-entering the world, this spring season where we have this general re-entering into life and possibility of compassion and justice and restoration even. We have this opportunity before us. But it's not just what we think we want, but what we are called to in that larger service. We get to do this together in the church, in the congregation, a place of joy. It is a place of grief, a place of service that helps us to remember, helps us to reconnect with that spark, or at least not forget a little less, right? Joy in all of its complexity, all of its simplicity, made manifest in us. We can give ourselves and each other the gift of being present. As gentle as possible, as loving as possible, and then mutually reinforcing that presence in church life, that forming edge of inspiration and practice. We get to put this all together here. One of the ways we practice that's wakefulness is when we think about our children and the children and youth who are part of the congregation. A couple of months ago, there was a cookie and game event. And I think one of the best things was like the children being able to watch the adults play Connect Four. You know, that one with like the vertical thing with the circles and the different colored checkers, and you have to kind of play tic-tac-toe with the checkers. And the adults were playing that, and the kids were like, look at the adults. And the adults and youth learning new card games and laughing at the fun of it and managing to be good sports when we screwed up or lost. That was good, yeah. But learned new games all the way. Or last month for the Ostara spring equinox, where children and youth and adults were honoring the presence of the earth, cleansing ourselves of the winter that had been, making ready for the lengthening of days, the growing of the light that is part of the eternal cycle of our corner of the galaxy, our small portion of the solar system. The English interpretation of Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi, the 13th century poet of Persia, which is now Iran, he says, "What will our children do in the morning? Will they wake with their hearts wanting to play the way wings should? Will they have dreamed the needed flights and gathered the strength from planets that all people need to balance the wonderful charms of the earth, so that her power and beauty do not make us forget our own? I know all about the ways of the heart, how it wants to be alive. Love so needs to love," he says, "that it will endure almost anything. It will endure almost anything just to flicker for a moment. What will our children do in the morning if they do not see us fly? What will our children do in the morning if they do not see us fly?" There is so much learned and reinforced in what we are aspiring for ourselves and those to come and those among us, in how we conduct ourselves in the congregation. Throughout the year, I'll offer, there's been so many able volunteers, along with our credentialed religious educator, Amy Pop, finding a path to let our children fly, whether it was indoors or outdoors or in person or online. I'm reminded about how precious is the sound of children, one of the best indicators of vibrancy in a place such as this, which is one of the few places when those of us who don't have children otherwise in our lives can be part of generations. We get to be the embodiment of layers of life and history, living with integrity, of living for ourselves as well as others. And we do this coming into the end of this church year, because next week not only is it Easter, but there's an egg hunt. Let's hope for really good weather, because that's egg hunt. We honor Earth Day in all of its complexity, cherishing and lamenting and wondering, how do we take care of this place? In the beginning of June, we'll have our flower ceremony of exchanging the unique blossoms and blooms and beauty with each other as a tangible act of connection. All of these are entwined with sadness and tragedy and liberation and hope. How we talk about all of these, and our generosity and our giving and our thankfulness for being part and parcel with one another. All of these are seen by our children and by each other. We get to model that wakefulness, that embodying of joy, that passion for that spark, that a spark of life that is familiar with the paths of sorrow. As David Whyte says, what you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for vitality hidden in your sleep. Let us let ourselves live wholeheartedly, to remain present and attentive to the waking and the darkness and to the light and all the struggle in our lives. Because here we are wondering what to do about this earth and ourselves on it, or simply, individually, simply being alone and knowing loneliness, feeling invisible at times, all the complexities that are among us, even amidst the powerful and potent wakefulness of the world. It's why Unitarian Universalists, this is our practice, this is our core. Why Unitarian Universalists focus on this life and not wonder about afterlife, because by golly, we have plenty to do here. And we need to. This is the moment we have, and that's the one we know we have. Even when we are weary in mind and heart and body amid the strife, there is still joy. There is learning. There is human development of who we are in body, mind, and spirit, because I'll tell you a little secret. It's not just the children in the classrooms, but but we are the children too. I mean, aren't we? Can't we be? To remember that joy upon waking. In this return, in this awakening, in this coming of spring, this is a return that is this forming edge as we awake together, people of all ages. There are different perspectives as we come into this next phase, or in the midst of navigating this next phase of how we are together again. How shall we nurture what grows while we've been sleeping? And what shall come forth? And I'll take as a final note, we don't need to rush into this, but take this time for joy in the struggle. As my colleague Victoria says, joy as the love of life, the spark of life, the awareness that sometimes this is what it's for, and its integrity and gratitude and beauty, and hold fast, and hold so fast. I invite us to hold fast to ourselves and to each other and see one another again for the first time, and to sing ourselves awake, in fact, knowing that singing is to ourselves as well as to each other. So I invite you to join me in singing, Wake Now Our Senses, to awaken our senses and return us in this practice in joy. It's number 298 in our hymnal, Wake Now My Senses, from our UU ancestor, Thomas Michelson. Please rise in body or spirit. The lyrics are in the video as well.
from Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstern. When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying their power by all our lives and sharing it with the world.
This is what is bequeathed to us. This earth the beloved left, and leaving left to us. But no other world but this one, willows and the river and the factory with its black smokestacks, no other shore, only this bank on which the living gather. No meaning but what we find here, no purpose but what we make, that and the beloved clears instructions to turn me into song, to sing me awake. Turn me into song and to sing me awake. Our worship is ended. Let our service begin. You know what? That means you're relaxed. I'm good. Good morning. How are you doing? Good morning, Steve. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you. Welcome. Good morning. Nice to see you. Good morning. Wow, that's fast. Good morning. Nice to see you. You all look like all Florida summery here. My goodness gracious. Love it. I know, ready for spring. Absolutely. Good morning, Lucy. Nice to see you.
Hi there, very nice.
Thank you, Lloyd.
How are we doing?